Hiya, yeah, it's my first time here. I just wondered if you could recommend anything.
Well, we got some stuff on the menu, but I've been messing around with some new drinks. So do you mind if I try and mix up a new cocktail for you?
Oh, that'd be great, thank you.
So as there's a gay bar, I'm gonna try and get a little bit of that in the cocktail. You seem like a pleasant new patron of the bar. I don't know you. You've not been in here before.
No.
So for now you're a stranger. Oh, I think there we go. Shake, shake, shake. Try one of these. I call it the Queer and Pleasant Stranger.
Greetings, strangers, queer and pleasant. I'm not Laura Kate Dale.
And I'm not Jane Aerith Magnet. Welcome to Queer and Pleasant Strangers, that show where none of us ever mess up our words ever and have to re-record things. How are you doing this week, Jane?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm good. I had a very nice weekend. It was very chill. I had a lovely time.
Yes.
Watched some things.
We did.
Went and heard some music. We had a good time.
We did.
Yeah. Where do we want to start with our week?
Oh, what did we play?
What did we play
What did we
this
play?
week? I've not played a huge amount this week.
Oh.
I started replaying Tales from the Borderlands this week because this is one of them Telltale games, and they shut down rather unexpectedly this week, and it was all a big sad state of affairs, people given like 30 minutes notice and no severance pay. But yeah, I thought, you know what, I want to go back and play one of my favourite things that Telltale ever did, which is Tales from the Borderlands. Borderlands, the games themselves are usually just very shoot, 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 bang games. Got a little bit of story to them, but it's not a huge amount of world building. It's usually just lots of big, huge, flashy numbers as you shoot things. And Tales from the Borderlands did a really nice job of, like, fleshing that world out. It's a lot less about combat and a lot more about talking and conversations and making choices, as all those Telltale games are.
Yes.
You play as a pair of unreliable narrators who are basically... You start from, like, the end of the story. They've both been captured by someone who's got them at gunpoint and is like, no, talk me through what happened. And you hear this... You sort of play through flashbacks of this comedy story with little bits of unreliable narration going on. It's definitely a comedy. Your two narrators are basically a big old space arsehole businessman who gets screwed over by his boss and decides, right, well, I'm going to screw you right back, boss. Steals $10 million from the company account and goes to basically go do a big business deal before his boss can do it. And the other character you've got is this woman who is a con artist who has basically faked and fabricated the entire business deal that this guy is coming down from space to try and do.
Right.
And they end up both not getting what they want and having to go on the run together as a con artist who has been caught out as like, you were trying to sell a fake thing, and you stole $10 million from our company to try and buy this thing that turned out to be fake. And it's just their sort of comedic on-the-run adventures trying to scramble together something out of almost screwing up two very big deals.
Hijinks ensue.
Hijinks ensue, yeah.
Are there any of them sort of characters from the main Borderlands series?
There's a couple of characters that show up, mainly ones from Borderlands 2. Characters like Athena, who's one of the Vault Hunters in Borderlands 2, shows up. A lot of it sticks to original characters. Like Handsome Jack, who was a big antagonist in the Borderlands series. Handsome Jack shows up in some form. I don't want to give too much away of how that occurs, but yeah, it's probably, I think, the most comedic, like, the best comedy timing in a video game I've experienced. It's just got some really on-point comedy writing. I think it really helps that because it's a narrative adventure game, they can sort of control the pacing a bit more. But yeah, no, I haven't played that since I first played through it, and about halfway through. I still think that is possibly the funniest game I've ever played. It is very, very funny point-and-click adventure-y stuff, so yeah, I've been really enjoying that.
Nice.
What about you? What have you been playing?
I finished Minute.
Oh, how'd you find the end of Minute?
It was good. I think it was just the right length. Yeah, very sort of Zelda light.
Yeah.
As we've said previously, sort of quite concise. It ended nicely. There's a new game plus mode that I'm not sure I can be bothered with. But
You see what I mean, though? That, like, if you know what you're doing, you could probably get through that in under an hour. But, like, I've seen speedrunners do it in under half an hour.
I think the fastest speed time I've seen posted for it is about 25 minutes.
I believe 25 runs is the fastest I've seen as well, yeah. But it's a fun little game that doesn't outstay its welcome.
Yeah, it's just right there, and it's a good price. So
yeah. There's definitely a few things I want to go back in and do in that game. Like, I still never got the 7 coins to get the running shoes to get through that maze. I don't know what's through that maze. I want to know.
I think it's just another heart.
Entirely possible, but like there are things in that game that I know I haven't found, and I kind of want to mess around with.
I did find enough coins to get the running shoes, and I did the running shoes bit.
Oh, I never got the running shoes, so you did a thing I never did. But yeah, it's a fun little. It's not going to replace a full Zelda adventure, but it's a fun little couple of quid, nice little side adventure, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Would definitely recommend, and would like to see more from those people.
Yeah.
Yeah, what else you played?
What else I played? I played the network test for Dark Souls Remastered on Switch over the weekend. So I'll start with the positives. As someone that has played Dark Souls on a lot of things before, this is definitely not, like, the graphically best way to play that game. You can play it on a PS4 Pro or a PC or whatever, and, you know, have nice 60 frames a second locked, which is good.
Yeah.
But this is also not the worst way to play it graphically. Like, this version of the game is more stable and runs more reliably than the PS3 and 360 versions ever did. So, like, it's better than going back to the old console versions. Portability is really nice. It plays very well on a handheld. That's all I really wanted out of this port, was I can be on a plane or a train and get a bit of a Dark Souls fix, which is nice. However, there's a couple of weird things about it. At least in this network test, the A and B button functions are the opposite of what you would expect them to be in menus, which is really confusing. You have to press B to go forward in menus and A to go back, which is weird. Someone on Twitter told me there was an option in the options menu to change that. I could not find it, so maybe I'm wrong, but it wasn't obvious, and it was annoying me. I was looking for a solution and couldn't find one.
This is like when we went to play the Agents of Mayhem demo at MCM, and I was like, I don't like the camera controls.
It's just something felt weird, and my brain didn't like it. The other thing about that demo is, and this is not necessarily a problem for me, but it's a thing to be aware of and something that people were hoping for that's not there. You can't pause Dark Souls on Switch by hitting the home button or the sleep button, as some people had hoped. It's a portable version of the game. Portability sometimes means being able to, like, the ability to stop suddenly and come back later is kind of important for portable versions of games. I can understand why they've not put it in there. Like, not being able to pause is a very deliberate design choice in that series, and something they didn't want to get rid of here, but that's gonna be a thing to be aware of, is there is no ability to just hit home or sleep and have it perfectly pause. So,
and did you have a chance to go and look at the Village of Eternal frame drop?
The demo only showed an area called the Undead Parish. I wasn't able to go to Blight Town, which is like the most notoriously frame droppy place, but what I will say is I've seen footage from events where people have gone to Blight Town and it seems to run fine. And considering that the Undead Parish played better than the 360 and PS3 versions of the Undead Parish, I have no doubt that, like, I'm pretty confident this is going to play alright. Like, it seems like it's keeping up a pretty good 30 frames. Good. I'm not too worried about Blight Town currently. We'll see when the full game comes out, but yeah, that was my experience with Dark Souls Switch. What else you played?
I had a playthrough of The Wonderful End of the World. This Katamari-like.
Yeah, that Katamari-like that... It's not my favourite thing in the world.
It's not great. It scratches the itch.
Do you want to explain to people what's not so great about it compared to Katamari?
Rather than rolling up with the Katamari balls, you have this puppet thing that gathers things into it, and especially in the first level. The first level's got just really bad generic MIDI music, and the sound it makes when you pick up items is something like boom.
The number of times I picked that game up and just gave up during the first level because I was like, oh, this don't feel good.
Yeah, the first level is not the best of all of them. It does get a bit better after that. The inside the computer level, where you sort of start off inside a Pac-Man maze, and then you expand out and you start collecting things like Tetris blocks and centipedes, trees, or whatever the items were, mushrooms. And then there's one that's just made up of like letters and word clippings. And that's quite fun. And we managed to get through the whole thing in an hour.
Nice.
So, yeah.
You did that all on a live stream.
It's good for the live stream, so if you want to go
Did
to
you
Maniac Janiac on YouTube, you can go and watch the VOD over there.
Heck!
See me get A's and A stars on everything.
Because you're a mezzan.
Well, I've
Pro-gamer
played that game a lot.
You as pro-gamer gal.
I didn't go and do the bonus levels, but there we go. Yeah. I think that was enough for everyone. What about you?
The only other thing I really played this week was I played some more Pokemon Go this weekend.
You playing Pokemon Go?
I know. I played a bit more of that. So currently there's a couple of events that were going on over the weekend. There's a big Gen 1 event where like all of the old Generation 1 Pokemon are more common than normal at the moment, which is good for me because I traded someone for a shiny Charmeleon because I want... Shiny Charizard is like one of my favourite designs of a Pokemon. So I went out and caught a bunch of Charmanders to be able to evolve to my Charizard. I've now got my shiny Charizard. That was cool. Woo. I think I've told the story before. Charmander in its evolution line, one of my favourite Pokemon. Love them. They were also doing a Chikorita Community Day on Saturday where that was the grass Gen 2 starter, was a lot more common than normal. Caught a bunch of those. Finally evolved it to its strongest form, which was like, I think one of 5 Pokemon I was missing in Gen 2.
Ooh.
So,
You got your nuthead thing?
Yeah, I'll talk about the nuthead thing quickly. So, last week in like network traffic for the game, hackers basically found an icon for a Pokemon that had never been seen before. It's like a little grey blob, kind of like a grey Ditto with a bolt for a head. And people were like, oh, is this going to be a thing when Pokemon Let's Go comes to the Switch? And then it just started popping up on the community day. And if you caught one, its name was all question marks and its stats were all question marks. And if you caught it, it became a Ditto. And people assumed it was in there incorrectly, like they'd accidentally put it up. And they just kind of left it there for a while, and people were like, is this a bug, or is this a confusing tease or something? And turns out, like, it's deliberately there. There was a trailer today that was like, basically Professor Willow from Pokemon Go and Professor Oak from Let's Go being like, oh, we found this thing, but every time we catch it, it turns out it was just a Ditto looking like one. And it seems like they're trying to tease this new Pokemon for Let's Go, and I feel like this is the worst way they could have teased it, because they put a new Pokemon in the game and everyone got very excited and went, oh, it's a brand new Pokemon, I'm going to be the first one to get it! And then it turns into a Ditto. It's like, oh, I didn't actually want a Ditto, I wanted this cool new thing, I want to know what it was.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a weird anticlimax letdown of, like, getting people excited and then being like, no, you don't get it. So, I'm not sure I'm a big fan of this particular way of teasing that, but if you're a person who's trying to do the Mew quest still from a while back and need to do the thing where you need to find a Ditto, if you spot one of these things with the bolt for a head, that's a guaranteed Ditto, so I guess that's good for people who want to get their Mew quest done still. Yeah, I think that's everything I've played.
That's everything I've played.
So...
Inside the boardroom of Electronic Active Softworks.
Right. Called this meeting, trying to decide on some new ways to save revenue within the company, because it's very expensive making video games.
Sure.
And I think I have thought of some ways that we can maybe cut some corners and cut down some of our outgoing expenses.
That's exactly what I like to hear. What have you got so far?
So, first idea, overwork our staff.
Naturally.
Exactly. If you make them work very long hours and give them very little time off and don't give them extra money for that, that's more work for the same money. That's just business 101.
Yeah.
What ideas you got?
Well, I think that we want to make sure that we're basically just churning out as many games as we can in the same engine. No, don't make anything different, because different costs money.
Exactly.
So we want to be able to churn everything out in as sort of close to the same as possible. And also, people say they like change, but they don't. They want exactly the same thing over and over and over again.
Just make a formula and plug in new things. Just plug new brands into existing formula. That's brilliant.
Absolutely.
So, my idea, I reckon, push those games out as fast, as common as possible. So much. People say we're going to oversaturate the market if we keep releasing game after game after game after game without changing anything. I say hogwash to that.
Yeah, so, and I also think, we're going to flood the market. People are eventually gonna just feel completely burnt out on our pointless recycled crap, So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we've got the best of the best on board. Maybe like 6 months before it all goes to shit, we put out a big call looking for more staff. We'll make. How about we make a big thing about getting more women in? That's a big important thing. And then, we can really appeal to some of the more shitty elements of the gaming community by just, selling it as this thing like, they destroyed it. It wasn't us with our awful business practices.
And then, just hear me out on this.
Yeah.
Once we've got the money for those games, once those games have sold and we have had the money, we just fire all the staff. Give them 30 minutes warning, get them out of the building. No, severance pay or nothing. Just out they go.
Absolutely.
Out they go. Just get rid of the staff, because then we don't have to pay them, then the money is ours.
Are you sure 30 minutes is short enough time? Because we don't want anyone managing to get anything off their hard drive and maybe releasing it. You know how people got that, like, Star Fox 2 out? We want to make sure that that unfinished game with the Marvel thing, that doesn't get released out there.
Here's what I'm thinking. We make the meeting to tell them they're fired about an hour long. We get rid of all the computers during that meeting. Then we give them 30 minutes. So they feel like they've had enough time to clear their stuff out, but they've not had time to take any of our materials.
You are a fucking genius.
Exactly. I think that this is definitely not going to bankrupt us, and we can keep working on projects and making money indefinitely, and this is definitely a stable way to run a business.
Absolutely.
Oh gosh. How's your running training been going?
Been doing sprints and the altitude training. Been doing a lot of altitude training, make sure I've got the strongest lungs possible for this big important event.
I know the big day's coming up and we got to get our running good. I've been trying to practice my my endurance, keep my pace going, not overexert myself. Got to be able to, not lose any speed before the end of the that run you got to do.
Yeah. I think we're primed to be right at the front of the pack there.
Yeah, right.
Now the doors are open. Please do not run to the front of the concert.
Fuck you all! Front barrier!
So, what have you watched?
Well, we watched a thing together on Sunday.
We did.
We binge-watched all of Hilda, which is a new cartoon animated show on Netflix.
The Adventures of Young Laura.
Yeah, so I felt like I had to watch this, because for a few years I've been getting tweets about the comic this is based on, about this young, blue-haired, adventurous girl that everyone is like, that looks like, this is based a character on Laura. And we saw the trailer, and it looked like, oh, that's a really nice-looking trailer, so we sat and binge-watched this show about a girl who used to live with her mum out in the wilderness, where there were all these, like, monsters and things and adventures to have. Yeah. And then through various happenstances she has to move to the city, and she's like, but I want to have adventures still. And she then finds ways to have adventures.
By joining the Scouts, essentially.
Yeah, basically joining Scouts. It's a really sweet show, isn't it?
Mm.
It's got a really nice art style. What was it you described it as? Like, if
I described it as if Steven Universe had Gravity Falls money.
yeah, it's got really nice music to it. All the voice acting was really nice.
Yeah.
It was just a really sweet, heartfelt show with like some good action scenes, some good drama.
I think it's truly the most wholesome show I've seen in a while.
Yeah, it was exactly what we needed on a very sleepy, slightly fragile Sunday, where we were like, we had a big Saturday night. We need easygoing TV today.
Yeah, so we needed to have one of those days where we just kept going, no Netflix, we haven't sorted our lives out.
Yeah, we're watching 14 episodes of a thing back to back. Netflix, stop judging me. But yeah, no, Hilda, I highly recommend it. If you're in the mood for just some good-hearted animated telly about the adventures of young British Laura,
I would happily watch that again in the not too distant future.
very much. I'm very up for that.
And we spotted a familiar voice in there, didn't we?
Oh yeah, we were trying to place where we recognised a voice from, and it was Thingy Bob from
It was
Xenoblade.
Tora from Xenoblade
Yeah,
Chronicles
Tora
2.
from Xenoblade 2. Who were like, where do we recognise that voice of that very small character from?
His voice is much more adorable when he's not going meh, 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 meh,
meh, meh,
or
meh.
making creepy robots.
I think this is my favourite thing I've heard that voice do.
Definitely.
Yeah. What
Off
do
to-
you watch this week?
So I watched a thing that randomly showed up in my recommended YouTube stuff. A almost show called Starship Goldfish.
Okay.
Its pilot episode has just come out.
Right.
The first episode was done as an animatic with some actual sort of finished animation, but mostly just animatic stuff.
Okay, yeah.
In 2013.
Hmm.
And the second episode came out in 4 parts during 2015,
Right.
which again was like animatic and some fully animated bits.
Yeah.
But the bit that's just come out is the pilot, and it's fully animated.
Okay, so they've gone back and been like, oh, okay, there's enough interest in this to justify actually animating.
Yeah, I've no idea if they've managed to get some funding for making a full show or what, but it was quite interesting to sort of go through and watch the episodes as they happen chronologically, even though...
Watching the evolution of a show getting made.
Yeah, but also, like, the pilot episode is chronologically the first one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was a bit weird. So the show is Starship Goldfish. It is about an idiot captain who has a really kick-ass ship and a cool robot companion. He deleted his memories a year ago and now just sort of bumbles around space being a dick and nearly dying quite a lot. In an almost sort of Final Space kind of way.
I was going to say, everything you've been saying about this, I've had very Final Space vibes.
Yeah, it had that sort of like, you're all going to die in a really dumb way. Yeah, it is a bit like that.
This sounds like it's up my alley. I'm up for this.
I mean, the episodes are about 20 minutes each. 22 minutes each.
Yeah.
It was quite an interesting show. The robot is sort of beautifully aware of how ridiculous the human is. They meet a woman who lives on a space station, who has a really kick-ass space station that's super protective of her. She's not really allowed to go out. She's not allowed to have any adventures. She's not allowed to interact with other ships.
Oh.
So she manages to sort of find a way to get around the computer, stick the Starship Goldfish, who has a distress signal, into their banks so that they can go and talk to it and help it.
Oh.
So they help them out and survive, and there's lots of interesting things going on in that series. Lots of weird aliens, and the story's a bit odd, and yeah, some of the stuff that happens to the robots. I don't want to do spoiler, but
No, I'm intrigued enough that I'm going to check this out.
the main character is definitely a complete dick, though. What else you got?
Other things we watched. We both watched a bit more Glow over the last week.
We did. We watched some Glow.
Continuing to very much enjoy going through that.
Yeah.
The characters are not always nice people,
No.
but there's usually like consequences for that.
I hope so. The whole thing about, oh, you want us to be stereotypes, and the guy's like, yeah.
It's
Made
very
me quite uncomfortable.
It's very much like, oh, this is set in a separate time period that is not now.
Yeah.
But like, I love a lot of the cast of characters. They're very sweet, and I like that episode we were watching the other day about the wolf girl. That was kind of sweet.
Yeah.
It's a nice show.
Mm-hmm.
What else have you been watching?
That is all I've watched.
The only other thing I've really been watching, I watched a bit more BuzzFeed Unsolved. Continue to find that very amusing. Just skeptic and person who believes in the supernatural bumbling around scary places. The episodes I've been watching recently, the guy who is very into the idea that ghosts are real has his new thing that he likes to bring out to all the supposedly haunted places, where basically it very quickly scans through different radio channels. And the idea is, ghosts can use it to talk, and what's probably happening is you are just getting some very lucky timing of you're hearing little snippets of different radio channels, and it sounds like a sentence. There's a couple of times I cannot deny that it sounds like it's fucking answering questions being asked. I'm not saying I believe that it's a real thing, but like, there's one point where like, guy who believes in ghosts is like, yeah, what colour jackets are we wearing if you're here, ghosts? And, like, it skips through these radio channels about a tenth of a second at a time, so you would need a lot of radio channels in a row to make several words of sound. It sounds like it describes their jackets as brown and white, which they are brown with white trim. And it's like, that's quite a long thing to get in tenth of a second chunks accidentally, as a response to a question. There's a few things where I'm like, I don't believe that. But also, that's a big old coincidence, huh? And I can understand why if you believe in ghosts, you might be freaked the fuck out by that. So, I've been enjoying this balancing act of believes in ghosts and really does not. Like, skeptic who is just like, I'm pretty sure everything you're hearing is just the fucking wind.
Yeah.
They make a very sweet pair. Like, neither of them mocks the other for their very different stance on the matter.
Nice.
It's just nice, good-hearted, I believe, you don't, that's okay, let's go explore.
Hurrah.
So yeah, that's everything I've watched.
Hurrah. So... Hi, yes, I'm glad we could sort out this meeting, because, you know, I was very much looking forward to touching base.
Yes, corporate synergy.
Absolutely, I think that's very much important. We need the alignment, the empowerment, and definitely need to organise the globalisation going forward.
Indeed, we need to make sure we have an exit strategy so that when we have our heavy lifting going on, we can ensure we have a holistic approach to our leverage, augmented, increased mind share.
Absolutely, and maybe, you know, moving forward, we should think about what is the new normal. What have we got on the runway? And you know, obviously want to try and organise some kind of paradigm shift going forward.
Indeed, we want some organic growth. We want to make sure that we're proactive, push the envelope. We reimagine the roadmap. With strategic synergy, sustainable synergy, is that a thing? I think, yes.
Would you be hiring me at all? Because I know all the buzzwords.
This is terribly embarrassing. I thought you were trying to hire me. I honestly have no idea what we're on about. I was just saying some business words hoping that I sounded like I knew what I was on about.
Oh. Do you work here?
Not right now. I thought I was going to, but you sounded like you knew what you were talking about. You said a lot of business words. I said a lot of business words.
I've got the Wikipedia page for buzzwords open under the table.
So do I. Do you think if we just sit at one of these tables and say these buzzwords to each other that they'll probably just keep giving us paychecks?
I mean, that seems reasonable.
Indeed, we just say the buzzwords a bunch and then we go to HR at the end of the month and go, we haven't had our paychecks. You saw us talking buzzwords.
Yes, I think that probably works. So,
fantastic.
Survival strategy, sustainability and wellness.
There's a win-win scenario in the spin-up sisterhood.
And in my That's right, in my wheelhouse, that sort of thing.
Indeed.
Sort of thing, thank
Let me
you.
unpack that statement.
It seems very, very bad. So, Laura, this week we've got an entirely different sponsor.
Oh, who's our sponsor this week?
This week we are sponsored by Spooky Brand Mattresses. They are haunted. They leak ectoplasm at random moments, and they come in these amazing special Pandora boxes, which keep it all the spookiness good and small while it's being shipped. And then once you open the box, all the evil escapes, and it just feels like it's just being shoved into our world by demons from another dimension.
Indeed. Try it for 100 nights, and if you're not completely terrified, they'll give you your money and your soul back.
That's Spooky Brand Mattresses at spookybrand.com.gov.
/podcast.
/podcast.
Put in the promo code Queer and Pleasant Spookies.
Yes, I have a Spooky Brand mattress on the bed in the spare bedroom. The guests seem to like it. They like that the ectoplasm is handily self-lubricating, you know, if we have anyone frisky over.
That's Spooky Brand Mattresses.
That's Spooky Brand Mattresses. Yeah, try one today.
So, what have you listened to this week?
Oh, I've had a big listening week this week.
I've listened to a few things.
Yeah, well, do you want to start?
I don't think I've got as much as you, so do you want to start?
Okay, well, the first thing I listened to is an episode of Query, which I've been listening to a lot recently. It was the Rebecca Sugar episode.
Yeah, this was from a while ago, wasn't it?
It was recorded on it was put out on October 9th, 2017.
Yeah,
It's
so...
about a year old now.
Yeah, so Rebecca Sugar had come out as...
Bi, but
as bi,
not non-binary at that point.
Yeah, okay. So do you want to talk us through...
So yeah, it's really sweet, and it's talking about sort of like growing up and getting into animation and sort of obviously a queero, as is the format of the show, and I just think Rebecca Sugar is the most wholesome and pure person in the world.
She seems it, doesn't she?
Yeah.
I have that downloaded. I've not listened to it yet, but I'm listening to it tomorrow very early in the morning when I go do a very long journey to a work company conference.
Yeah. The other thing she was talking about was how like using art to be and feel safe.
Yeah.
And how like she's been quite touched by people sort of coming up to her at events and things, and the first time she performed a lot of the Steven Universe songs live, because she'd never done gigs before.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, you want me to come? I think it was a convention.
It seems like it would
She
be.
did like a bunch of Steven Universe songs on the ukulele. It's like, oh, so sweet, you're so precious, we must save you.
Every time I see her like play those songs in front of audiences on a ukulele, she just seems so. Oh, I just want to give her a hug. You're so precious,
So pure,
so pure.
Mm-hmm.
You're so pure, precious.
What you got?
What I got?
What you got?
I've been listening to a podcast that I fell a bit behind on. I've been catching up. One called Weird Heat, which I can't remember if I've talked about on here before. It is a podcast by Brian Altano and Max Scoville from the Comedy Button. And every episode they pick a topic and they just have a good old conversation about it for an hour. The most recent ones I've been listening to were episodes about fear, money, anxiety, and procrastination, which are all things I'm like, oh yeah, okay, their feelings on those and the way they talk about their feelings on those are things I can empathise with.
It's the only nation I have any sort of patriotic feelings about.
What, the procrastination?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a good podcast to listen to as someone that does creative-y things, to feel a bit less alone in some of my brain-feely thought stuff with. It's a good just like feel a bit less alone with the ways that your brain's maybe a bit fucked up sort of podcast. So yeah, I continue to very much enjoy that podcast. I have to be in the right frame of mind to listen to it, but yeah, I've been very much enjoying that. What about you?
I listened to the best of Chubby Checker this morning.
Did you now?
Yeah. I don't know what brought that up. I was like, you know what? I want to listen to some Chubby Checker, so I just stuck the best Chubby Checker on YouTube.
How did that go?
He sung a lot about the twist and limboing, but yeah, it's some good old-fashioned rock and roll. Yeah. It's classic. It's really classic rock and roll music, sock hop music.
Yeah.
What else you got?
In terms of other stuff I've listened to, I re-listened to the first couple of MCR albums recently because I was in the mood for a bit of like very familiar rock music, so I re-listened to I Gave You My Bullets, You Gave Me Your Heart, which is their first album, which is like very sort of raw and angry.
Good punk.
It's the sort of it's the most like punkish of their albums, where it's all just like anger is the primary emotion and it's not too polished. And then 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge, which was like the first album that they went sort of pretty big with. Definitely a more polished sound. There's a few of the tracks that deal a bit more with feelings like sadness or defiant optimism, like rather than just anger. That band is always going to be a band for me that just like is ingrained in my head and that I will forever have a soft spot for. So yeah, I just went back and re-listened to those first couple of albums.
Nice.
What about you? What else you listened to?
I listened to Dolly Parton's I Will Always Love You. To be fair, I was standing at the bottom of the stairs lip syncing at you.
You were indeed. I came down just as you were finishing lip syncing.
Oh yeah, it was one of those things where you didn't know I was serenading you, but there you were.
I came down, I was like, was that for me, was it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I particularly like that version of it. I know a lot of people are big fans of Whitney's version, but Dolly sounds like she's just had her heart broken, and Whitney sounds like she's showing off all of the vocal range.
Yeah, I always like Dolly Parton's stuff, and that song in particular, I'm like, yeah, you knocked that one out.
Yeah. I'm not saying that Whitney's a bad singer.
No, but I have a personal preference for the Dolly version.
You got any others?
I got a couple of others. We listened to a lot of music together on Saturday night.
We did.
Couple of tracks that I'm pretty sure we've talked about before, but I'm just going to bring them up. The ones that have been stuck in my head that we heard on Saturday night were Yucky Yucky.
Yep, by Marie Canty.
Yep. What's the version of it?
Hard Floor Mix.
Hard Floor Mix. And Flip the Script, which is another one I know I've talked about recently that, as far as I can tell, only exists in connection to the place where we heard it.
Yep.
So
they also play Josh Wing's Higher State of Consciousness.
Oh yeah,
which is always popular at that event.
What other good stuff did they play that?
There was a weird version of Filthy Kick's Beauty and the Beats.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that
with some emceeing over it. I don't know that version, but there we go.
Yeah, there was some good tracks.
There was some very good.
We
tracks.
need to listen to the live stream of that event's music. Yeah, and we need to track down what some of those tracks were.
Yes, same, because there was some really good drum and bass / jungle towards the end. I was like, I need this tune.
There were some proper bangers.
There were some proper bangers.
Proper bangers. So yeah, you listen to anything else?
Yeah, I listened to. I basically stuck into YouTube today some Steven Universe remixes because I wanted to see what I could find. And there was a remix, Steven Universe, Let's Only Think About Love, featuring Shy Leaf.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a really nice sort of housey mix. It's really beautiful. Quite chippy in places. Definitely recommend. Have you got any others, or shall I just?
No, just go through yours. That's all of mine done.
Steven Universe Dance of Swords video game remix. Electro House. Very good. It's sort of a lot of hollow pearl lines during the sort of Dance of Swords ambient track. With all the electro house grunginess. Lapis Lazuli under extended cover by Cyril the Wolf. It's an 80s rock cover.
Oh yes, please.
It's like 4 minutes of hair metal version of Lapis Lazuli.
Yeah, I'm very into that.
And my personal favourite of the day, a symphonic metal tribute to Steven Universe by L Train on YouTube.
Oh, I need to listen to all of these.
It's so there's lots of sort of orchestral stuff, and then sort of going into like shreddy guitar. Definitely recommend. It's like 12 minutes long, but the highlights from that were "Strong in the Real Way" and "Stronger Than You." Both brilliant versions, and the title theme was pretty darn good.
I am up for all of these things in my life.
Yeah, that was L-Train on YouTube.
Is there anything else?
That is it.
I guess it's time for this. Do you like the idea of partying, but are continually paranoid about the safety and comfort of your partying friends?
Uh-huh.
Well, you might be just the candidate we're looking for to fill in the position of Rave Mum.
What's a rave mum?
Your duties will include making sure your friends who are sat in the corner are having a good time, checking everyone is drinking water in healthy amounts, and giving chewing gum to anyone who looks like they could do with something to chew on besides their own face.
I could be a rave mum.
Fantastic! Applications are open right now. Apply for Rave Mum.
Grimlaw, I am deeply saddened. What has you saddened today? I have been corrupting humans for many years, gathering souls for our evil armies of the damned.
Indeed, foisting evil upon the world is the most fun I've had in eons.
Yes, but it's getting a bit too easy.
I know what you mean. I think the problem, you see, I think there's a bit too much evil in the world already. It's like we've got nothing really to do. The humans are sort of doing it all to themselves at this point.
Well, it didn't help that all those demons decided to escape to Earth and disguise themselves as fundamentalist Christians.
Oh goodness, yes. It's sort of making the spirit of things, isn't it, to go down and interfere directly like that?
Exactly. I'm very disappointed. It's just too easy. You think you're gonna tease someone and steal their soul, and before you know it, there is like, well, that was just a pushover. Come on, where's your virtues?
Exactly. Trying to corrupt people to evil. It turns out they've already gone and done a bunch of evil themselves. It doesn't take any hard work to push them over.
Half of them have souls darker than the bosses.
Oh, goodness, yeah. At this point, I'm thinking it might just be easier to try and do the opposite, try and make them nice, because at least that's a challenge.
I think we could get a job upstairs then.
Maybe we could go and ask.
Question time. It's time for questions.
What's the questions?
It's very few questions because I was just silly this week.
Did you forget to put the question thread up on
I forgot to
time?
put the question thread up until about 20 minutes ago.
Well, that's fine, because I've got to be up at like 5 in the morning tomorrow, so I am up for a short episode.
Okay. Becky Toothill would like to know, what things do you want to make?
Oh, what things do I want to make? I've always wished I could make music. I've tried making music. I'm not very good at it. I would like to make some music.
I'm about to have to write a new jingle, so...
Well, you will indeed be writing some music.
What else? I like making people laugh.
Oh,
I think that's the most important thing, making people happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think those are the most important things to make. Too often I just make a mess.
Oh.
I'd like to make a home.
These are all very sweet answers that were not... I was being much more literal with my answers.
I like to spend... one day I would like to make a Lego Star Destroyer, because I think they're really cool. But I would need a lot of money to be able to buy that.
Yeah. Maybe when we win the lottery one day.
Maybe. Luna Laviolette would like to know, you're going to be at any cons or events up north at any point in the near future?
I might be at, let me check what the event, where in the country it is. I am having a mental blank. Do you have any answers for this while
No, I haven't got anything planned now this year.
Okay.
In fact.
In terms of... So the most northish one I'm going to is not terribly far north, but in the near future, in November, I'm probably going to MCM Comic Con in Birmingham. So that's further north than I often go for conventions. That's about the best answer I can offer you right now. I'm probably going to be in Birmingham in late November.
I think we should try and make an effort to go and do something somewhere at some point, a bit more north.
It would be nice indeed.
It would.
It's
I
just
don't know
a case
what's
of
going on. Maybe people can suggest things that are worth
Yeah.
going to. Someone suggested a museum the other day that we should check out, but I've forgotten what it was. I will need to look it back up in the notes.
Okay.
But yeah,
Birmingham is as north as I'm going anytime soon.
we don't have any plans. If you can suggest something that's something that's up there that we can see.
If you can suggest a thing that I can convince Kotaku UK is like worth paying for me to send me to, then I will be there.
And I can afford to get to,
Yeah.
because I don't get the press stuff.
No.
No.
What other questions?
Bungle would like to know, how do you dye your hair without destroying it?
I don't. I destroy it. It's in terrible condition.
It's not. It's very strokey.
It gets very... At this point, it gets very tangled very often.
Well, yeah, you could probably do with a trim because you've got some split ends which will cause
Yeah,
all of that, and
but-
you don't condition it, so...
Not as much as I should. Not as much as I should. Yeah, no, I have not thought about the long-term health of my hair, and I probably should, but... We leave it until, we let the roots grow out a reasonable way before
Yeah,
we
I usually
bleach.
let it have, about 1 inch to 2 inches of roots before I re-bleach it.
And we
Mainly because my head is so sensitive that I get chemical
Yeah.
burns if I have peroxide on my head for more than about 20 minutes.
Yeah, and we both try and just bleach the roots rather than bleaching the already dyed hair, which helps to
Yeah.
not do excessive damage.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think those are our main bits of advice.
That's the main bit, and I condition a decent amount, and sort of once a month or so I will stick a bunch of coconut oil on it and leave it overnight.
I should really do that.
Sleep on a towel, and then the next morning give it a nice hot rinse out, and it's super conditioning.
Next time you do that, let me know and I'll do it as well.
Other than that, we use vegan dyes, which are pretty
Yeah.
light on the hair.
Manic Panic do very good neon dyes that are very good for the hair and vegan.
And for your one, the atomic turquoise, it actually just stays in there forever.
Oh yeah, it good.
Yeah, yours stays in for ages, and mine washes out about every 2 weeks. But yeah, I use the atomic lizard. Electric lizard. Mechalicks would like to know, pancakes or waffles?
I have more nostalgia for pancakes, but I think that it's tough to deny that waffles, with their deliciousness traps, are probably the objectively better. I think waffles are better, but I will always be more nostalgic and have a preference for pancakes.
Waffles every time.
Yeah.
Waffles every time, because I remember going to... I think it was Friendly in Florida when we went to go to Disneyland when I was quite small. And I had waffles every single day. And with whatever that fake maple syrup that they use in American diners is.
I had a similar experience as a small child going to Disneyland in Florida. I didn't have waffles for breakfast every day, I had donuts. So I vividly remember those donuts. And if I'd had waffles, I'm sure that those waffles would be nostalgic, but I didn't really have waffles until into adulthood. And I can tell that they're objectively a better design, but I had pancakes growing up. I had very thin English pancakes.
Oh, they're sort of crepey ones, as
Almost,
opposed
yeah,
to the
very
fluffy
I had
Americans.
very, very crepey pancakes, and that was pancakes growing up.
I remember my folks used to make crepey pancakes, and with I think they'd use Yorkshire pudding batter,
It's very similar batter.
and then fry it up as thin as possible,
Yeah.
and stick chocolate sauce and ice cream on it.
Yeah.
Which I always thought was a bit sickly, to be honest.
I
Because they're quite greasy.
For me, growing up, it was always golden syrup. There was always golden syrup just drizzled on a pancake.
See, parents only used golden syrup in the ginger cake.
Yeah, that's a good ginger cake.
It is a good
Had
ginger
some of that
cake.
on my birthday. It's a good ginger cake.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. It's a family recipe.
It's a
One of
very
the few
good
things
family
A
recipe.
few things I got from my parents apart from my genetics. Yeah, that is all of the questions. Do you know what I want to see more of?
What do you want to see more of?
Social justice warrior horse.
Hello, Larry.
Oh, Barry, how are you doing today?
Well, I'm not too bad, Busy day at work.
Yeah, I know the feeling. I had a thing on my mind today. I wanted to just sample it off someone. I saw a statistic recently. I can't remember exactly how much it was, but saw some of those statistics about how much people who have periods, how much on average period products cost that person in their lifetime, and it's a bit ridiculous, isn't it? That's not a thing that's subsidised or covered in any way, because we live in the UK, obviously, and we've got a National Health Service. In theory, all our medical costs are meant to be covered, by taxes and whatnot. But people who have periods, that's a thing that, they can't help that that's going on, but they have to pay out of pocket for. That doesn't seem right to me.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's ridiculous that anything that is absolutely essential for somebody is something that you have to pay for. You call me a dirty socialist if you like, but I think it's the sort of thing that is absolutely essential. We need to make sure that people have
The ability to deal with that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand why essential products for people who menstruate are not available for free. It's just essential. How can you think that it's right to profit from that?
Indeed, and even if you're not gonna give them for free, at least don't pay, charge tax on them, because
Absolutely, they're not a luxury product.
Exactly, that's one of them ridiculous things. Because even if you're not, as much of a socialist hippie as we are, to charge, tax on them as a luxury product is ridiculous. They're not luxury products; they are necessities.
Absolutely.
If you look at certain, I can name other products that you don't have to pay tax on because they are medical related products. For example, if you buy a swimsuit that has pockets for mastectomy breast forms, you don't get charged tax on them because they're no, that is a medical related product. That is we're not going to charge you tax on that. It's, in theory, government knows if it's a medical related product, you probably shouldn't be taxed in it. But they, for some reason, don't, they don't put that idea on the menstrual products.
I wonder if part of that isn't just to do with just piss poor education about human biology.
Oh God, I've seen some completely misinformed opinions about menstruation before. I've seen men commenting online who think that it's like peeing. It's a thing that you can hold in and wait until oh, okay, I feel like I need to menstruate. I'll wait and I'll do it when I get to the bathroom, and then it's just oh, you do a pee and it's done. That's ridiculous. But there are people who are that uninformed about this stuff.
Yeah, I don't understand why that is, that people are so badly educated. I understand, that when in schools they will probably try and divide children up into those who are most likely to have a uterus and those who are not, so that they can have certain conversations about things like periods and so forth.
Well, surely you should be teaching everyone about that. It's important to understand what, the other half of the world is going through.
Absolutely, and, it also stops the whole thing about, masculine presenting children who have no clue about how any of that works, beyond vague diagrams with sort of euphemistic diagrams as a whole.
And the other thing as well is, even while we're talking on that topic, if these things should really be available for free to people who need them.
Absolutely.
Specifically, I think it's important to say they shouldn't just be available in women's facilities, because there are male identified people who may still have menstrual needs and who may need access to those products.
You very often don't find, menstrual product machines in disabled toilets either.
Yeah, exactly. You often don't get disposal facilities in disabled or gender neutral facilities, and that's a bit of a shitty situation. If you're a trans man who is having a period, and you need to dispose of period products, you're gonna have to use female facilities, which is kind of shitty.
Or, you're going to have to bundle it up in a tissue and carry it with you to a bin.
That's not good either. No. And also, that's a bit ridiculous, because sometimes, there's a building I go into on a fairly regular basis. They have their single cubicle toilets labelled male and female. Only difference is the ones labelled female have sanitary bins, ones labelled male don't. Why not just leave them all as these ones have sanitary bins, these ones don't, they're all gender? They're single cubicles. There's no need to gender them and to lock the access to menstrual facilities behind the word female.
Well, exactly. I mean, there is a pub near me that I'm always very happy to go in. Something that always makes me very happy. The toilet facilities are labelled sitting and standing.
Exactly. Look, that's how we should be dealing with these things. But I think our general point is just, if you should be giving these products for free, making them available to men and women, even if you're not
non-binary people.
Non-binary people. Exactly. Thank you for reminding me there. But on top of that, even if that's you're not going to do that, at least don't tax them as a luxury.
Well, not only that, the fact that period poverty is a thing.
Yeah, it's a really common thing for homeless people. That is a thing that often can't be afforded and can't be budgeted.
I would imagine in the choice between, am I going to buy period products or am I going to buy food? When you're homeless, one of those is probably going to win out, despite what you need on both counts.
Yeah, exactly. Right, that was a bit of a conversation. You up for that, Hug?
Always up for that.
Always up for that.
Always. Oh, yeah, it's always lovely to have this chat. Yeah. Oh, another good hug.
Had some good hugs at the weekend as well.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. There's some great hugs going around.
Yeah. Oh, that was a good one.
Yeah. Well, should pop the kettle on then?
Yeah, sounds fantastic.
Nice. I'll pop the kettle on.
Pop the kettle on. Have a cup of tea.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, mate. So, Laura?
Yes?
Where can we find you on the internet?
You can find me at Laura K Buzz pretty much everywhere. Laura K Buzz on Twitter, Laura K Buzz on YouTube, Laura K Buzz on Twitch. You can also find me Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 at kotaku.co.uk. Jane is doing that dance she does where she dances along to the rhythm of my words.
This is the rhythm of your words.
It's always distracting. I have to close my eyes while I do my outro. It just, my brain can't focus on both.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. You can find me on Dice Funk. It's a 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons real play podcast. Every season is a self-contained story. I'm on seasons 3, 4 and 5. Season 3 is about a bunch of people trapped in a magical barrier town. Season 4 is a cyberpunk story about overthrowing capitalism. Season 5 is a big old adventure in space.
Space!
Well, there's things with tentacles on their faces, and I'm a big drunk hippo lady. Other than that, my memoir's coming out July 19th, 2019. That'll be available to pre-order very soon. And in the next couple of weeks, you will be able to put down some money for the butt book.
One, please.
You saw a thing that
I saw your video today.
I put together a pitch video for that, and Jane has seen it. I'm proud of that video.
I would like to buy one, having seen your video.
I hope that people enjoy that video in a couple of weeks when they see it, with all those fancy names that flash up on the screen going, look at all these people who are involved.
Yeah, I like the font they used.
Indeed. I believe that font might be changing, but we might be tweaking that, but the video's basically done.
Does this mean I get to be a hipster for your
Yes, you saw the
the original version was so much better. I loved it on vinyl.
The original version with the pixel text.
I'm just going for A vegan deconstructed latte now.
What about you? Where are you on the internet, Jane?
I can be found on stonemonkeyradio.blog, where I should really do something. I can be found on Maniac Janiac as on Twitter and YouTube. I said it round the wrong way, which confused myself. I can be found on twitch.tv/Janiac most Thursdays at around 7:30.
7:30 p.m. UK?
Yep, and I haven't decided what I'm going to play this week, but it doesn't matter because this comes out after I will have done the live stream.
So you will have live streamed something.
Yes, but I will also be live streaming something again next Thursday.
Ah!
In theory. Yeah. Oh yes, soundcloud.com /Jane Aerith Magnets, where you might be listening to this now.
Indeed. And with that all said, until next time, be a stranger.